Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we're talking to Nicole Landon. Nicole was a nurse. She's still a nurse, but she's branching out. Tell us all about it, Nicole. What are you doing? Who you are? And your thoughts on the medical community.
I can totally do that. I can totally shed some light since I have now been one and have healed myself too, so I can kind of give both sides. I didn't always want to be a nurse. What happened was I kind of got pushed into being a nurse. I got to choose being a nurse, but I wanted to do public speaking. I wanted to be on TV as a kid. But, I think my generation, I don't know if other generations, but in my generation specifically, my parents said that I was never going to be able to make money being on TV. I mean, unless I was a celebrity of sorts. And they weren't really wanting to put that much effort into me going to Hollywood and, going that route. And I was really shy, if I'm being honest. So I can see where their concern was for that. But cut to now that I'm in my profession and I know that I'm being called to do something more, I figured, why not? Why not get out of my comfort shell, my comfort zone, and branch out and do what I was supposed to do? So here we are. I've been a nurse for 13 years. I've actually been in the medical field for 20. I was a surgical tech before that. Mm-hmm. And I love the medical field. I love actually the body. I love understanding the body. Because I've healed myself, I think I have a very good understanding now of the body and how it heals. And your body is always wanting to heal itself. Until you're in the dirt, your body will always want to heal itself. So with that being said, any disease that you have, it's manageable. You just have to give your body the right environment. It's kind of like a landfill. When you first start out the landfill, there's not a whole lot going on, right? There's not a whole lot of waste. But the more you compile onto it, eventually it gets so inundated that it can't run properly anymore, right? You have to start wicking away all of that stuff. Well, that's what your body does. When you're young, you don't have a lot of issues because your body is able to maintain because you're not throwing a ton at it. The more we suppress our emotions, the more we don't speak our truths, all that stuff starts to compile. And then people start telling us that we're supposed to eat a certain way. I think our bodies were designed to eat a specific way. I think that we eat too much right now as it is. And so our bodies just are so flooded with so many toxins and garbage.
And not really food either.
Yeah, that it can't properly assimilate anything. So here we are having, a lot of disease and discord in our lives. And
we were talking about endometriosis earlier, and you had some interesting things to say about that. I'd like you to share those again.
Yeah, so endometriosis, basically it's been traced back to being an autoimmune disorder, which really traces back to Epstein-Barr, which is a virus that 98% of us really have. We just oftentimes don't know it because they don't test for it. Mainstream, conventional medicine does not test for Epstein-Barr. You have to go to a naturopath to get tested for it. Well, when you have Epstein-Barr, you have a viral load that's constant all the time. It's in your body any virus that you've ever had. it never leaves. It's just dormant. It stays underneath the surface. Well, if you eat right for your body, you can keep that virus below the threshold and you'll never experience symptoms of it. But when you have all of, as somebody who's had endometriosis as well, and I've healed myself from it, dairy, horrible for it. Gluten, horrible for it, because it's inflammatory. Both of those foods are very inflammatory. So when you have inflammatory foods with an autoimmune condition, it's going to create inflammation and your body can't properly assimilate that, so it's going to create a disease.
And disease is really just your body trying to get your attention and make changes.
Same with pain. It's just saying, hey, I need you to come over here and look within and tell me what's going on with me. That's it. Yeah. Me. I'm trying to help you help me.
Right. I'm raising the flag over here. That's totally. Why we hurt.
And then we're like, no, it's fine. We'll take it, take a Tylenol, take a Motrin. We're going to just shut you up and we're going to keep going.
Stuff that they don't even know how it works.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically it treats one symptom, but gives you 10 other side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Really
bad.
Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place. I'm not saying that like if you're in a car accident, you need to be going to your holistic doctor. You need to be going to the ER and getting that situated. But our healthcare system should be focused primarily on prevention, because that's what we can do. That's like the first line of defense. Telling people how to properly eat, how to properly heal, how to deal with your emotions, how to talk positively to yourself, because everything that you are surrounding yourself with constantly is a feedback loop. So whatever you see externally going on in your world is actually an internal reflection of what's going on inside of you. So if you don't like what you see, you might want to change it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I look at the medical community and think industrial medical complex, because that's what I feel like they've moved to. They're excellent at trauma management, like critical medicine. I don't think there's any place better.
Agreed.
To get emergency care. But if you've got a chronic disease, and almost everything is a chronic disease now because we're so poorly educated on, what to eat, what is food, how to cook. Mm-hmm. The sad thing is we don't teach our children these things. And I was reading online today something that Biden said, and I don't usually listen to what Biden says, but he said, sorry, I don't know what your politics are. I don't really have politics.
I'm with you.
I think they're all a bunch of crooks.
Oh,
but he said that he thought that insurance companies, it would be in their best interest if they started paying coaches, health coaches. I thought, that's the only thing I've ever heard come out of that man's mouth that I actually agreed with.
1,000%. I can't even believe that he said that.
I was shocked too. It's like, wow.
Okay.
Something about blind squirrels and acorns, I guess.
I get down with that for sure, because health coaches are very, very, very important to us, because they have learned a different way of eating properly. I'm sure through some of their own issues that they've had to heal, or this, that, and the other, for sure.
They're almost always solving a problem that they themselves have figured out how to get a handle on. And it's usually things that the medical community is totally like, unless they can give you a pill to fix it or surgically fix something or continue to break it, however you want to look at it. But excuse me, they just they're not that good. They don't understand that your body wants to heal.
Yeah. It's because so it's really, the sad part in all of this is none of the doctors really know that that's how they were taught. Like, they don't all they've done was go to school, learn what they were taught, and then apply it. But they've never done the back research behind why they're doing what they're doing. And is it working? You know, they kind of get stuck on that hamster wheel where they just keep doing it because that's what they were told and that's what they learned. And so they think it's true. But it's not until something actually happens to you where you don't get answers and they basically cast you aside, you know, like stage 4 cancer, and they tell people to go home and die. That's the saddest thing in the world to me, because your body doesn't want to die. But what happens is, and I've seen it, people literally will shift their mindset in that second. After they're told they have to go home and die, they basically get ready for death. And to me, that's sad. You know,
the whole, we do what we're told.
Mhm.
And when somebody in authority tells us something.
Yep. I didn't do that though, because I basically was told at the age of 32 that I was going to have a hysterectomy. And I thought, no woman should ever have to get a hysterectomy at the age of 32, ever. Like that was my eye-opening moment where I decided to take my own health into my own hands and start doing the research. I mean, and I went down this rabbit hole. I'll be honest with you. I thought that these people were full of crap. Like I was like, this is snake oil. This is just left field. This is like a Hail Mary, because I didn't think it was going to work. I really didn't, because I had been so trained into this way of thinking that only a pill is going to help you. And then I was just going to be destined for the rest of my life to live, you know, getting cysts every 2 to 3, 5 years and having to be on permanent birth control, this, that, and the other, right? Because that's what they tell you. So I go off and I must have had just a blind faith internally. And I just kind of kept on that path. And then I started learning a lot of stuff. And then I started seeing the results. And then I was like, okay, they're onto something. And then I just went way down the rabbit hole, to the point where I actually would prefer to practice holistic medicine 100%. And your mind is also a very, very, very powerful tool, and it can also heal you. You just have to believe it.
Yeah. And you have to see it in your mind's eye. And it may take a minute for things to actually present on the outside, but it's not that your body hasn't just immediately gotten started towards making whatever you want to be a reality. It's just that people, they get started and then they waffle, and then it's like, oh, it's not working. I have seen it work.
Me too, 1,000%. I mean, I've seen people literally heal themselves from cancer, stage 2, stage 3, pretty progressive diseases, and no more. In fact, there was a guy that we treated. He was 26 years old, just barely had a kid, barely had a brand new baby, just was married. And he had a pretty unique type of cancer. I think it was stage 2. So he caught it kind of early enough, but he didn't want to go through any of our treatment modalities. I mean, and we were doing holistic stuff like high dose vitamin C, curcumin, quercetin, all this other stuff. He's like, I don't want to do it. I want to take me the fastest route. And the doctor said, okay, we'll do a 40-day fast with you. So we took his labs like every, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just to make sure all of his electrolytes and everything. But he just did a straight water fast for 40 days. He cured himself, and he no longer, it's been, I think, 4 years, 5 years. He's still cancer-free, still completely cancer-free.
Simple thing. Stop eating. The rule of hole digging. Stop digging.
Yes, and also deal with your emotions. Like, we have not been taught at all how to deal with our emotions. And what they are, they're literally just there to let you know that there's something going on with you. It's like judgment, right? Judgment is the beautiful thing about judgment. I just did a TikTok about this. The beautiful thing about judgment is it just shows you where your wounds are. So if you're being triggered by somebody and you're judging them, you might want to look at yourself and be like, okay, why am I doing this? What's going on with me that's creating this adversity within? That's bliss for me. I think it's so much fun now. When I start judging people, I'm like, haha, okay, we still have some work to do.
Go look at that one in the mirror. So how does coaching work with you? You are a health coach now, right? You're working with people.
More of an intuitive. I just do intuitive. I read energy, and I basically let people know what's going on with them, and basically teach them how they can heal their own selves. Because I want to be somebody who's very interdependent, or at least I don't want anybody to ever rely on me, because these are all within you. All I want to do is just show you how to get there so you can be on your way. That's the beauty about me. And like, I feel like that's how the world should be. We bounce stuff off each other and then we go our own ways.
We're all energy, we're all interconnected, and anything that we do with each other impacts all those that we come in contact with.
1,000%.
On both sides.
And so that's what I help people do, is I basically can feel into your energy, your energetic body, and see what's going on and tell you what's going on. And then we can work through it together. Or if you don't, if that's not your forte, then you can go on and do it your own self. Like it's your journey. That's the beautiful part. And I don't want to interrupt or, do anything inside of your journey that you're not ready, willing, and able to do.
I've seen a lot of interesting modalities out there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's when it's when you're holding your emotions and stuff in your organs, and
which we all do.
Yeah, we do. And in clearing those, you can get some interesting healings. Like my husband, who was not woo-woo when he first retired, but now is becoming more progressively that way. I think it's because he's been around me for so long. And my neighbor.
I think we just start rubbing off on people because they're like, well, she's healing and I'm not. And I just, what does she have that I don't? And what is she doing that I'm not doing? And I think it just eventually starts it starts creating this ripple of, healing energy, because it's positive. And listen, we're at Earth, right? We're on Earth. We're always going to have polarity. There's always going to be a positive charge and a negative charge because it's magnetism here. If when you're looking at the because it's shadow work is what you have to do, which is why we judge, which is why we do all of these things. We came down here to learn and grow and manipulate energy. And that's all that's all we want to do. And so we want to start creating our own stories within this paradigm. So whenever you have those negative things come up for you, that's a great time for you to really look into those, because you're transforming them to that positivity. It's that simple, really. When you start looking at it, it's just taking that shift, which can be fun.
It can be. And it can be life-changing, and it doesn't take a lot. I think we've been so programmed to think that everything has to take a long time to happen, and it requires a lot of outside intervention, when in reality, a lot of it just starts in your head.
It really does. All of it starts in your head. If you believe that you can heal yourself, you will heal yourself. And you will start aligning with those modalities that are going to get you there, so that you can learn, because knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have to be able to heal yourself, the faster it happens. Really, because you're just envisioning. Now you have all this stuff to envision, and you can see your body literally transforming. And if you start doing that every single day, here we are, new body, new life, and then you just create something more.
And our bodies change. It's like every 7 years, you're not the same person you used to be. Because your cells regenerate, they die, and the new ones come. And
so we're like born of the moon and stars, right? Because you have those 7-year cycles. And what I love, though, is like in psychology, they do that every 7 years. You have those different, I forget what they're called as a nurse. But you do every 7 years, you have these like things that you go through. I think I don't know even what I meant, but I know as a kid or as like kids, you have like 1 through, I think it's 1 through 4 and then 4 through 7. You have like these different developmental stages that you go through. And if you get stuck in them, you kind of stay there. Well, the same with this stuff too. If you're not clearing your junk out, so to speak, if you're not keeping inventory, you're going to stay in that same place until you actually look at it, deal with it, heal, and move forward.
Yep. And it builds up in your body in different forms. And as you get older, it just like, it becomes harder and harder to clear out that.
It really does. You also get stuck though, like in this mindset of, well, it hasn't gone away for this amount of years, so what makes me think it's going to happen now? Which is just a lie that we tell ourselves, because that's what we were told to do. We were told that this is how we're going to have to live. You know, with when you go to the hospital and they send you home and you have hypertension, no, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. Don't need
diabetes.
Yes, it's totally curable. Every disease is curable, period.
Yeah, or you're gonna die.
It's
like one or the other. The diabetes thing is like it's so rampant in our society because there's sugar in everything, and people don't know how to like manage sugar. Like sugar and fiber, which is the rule.
Yeah. Sugar, well, do you want to know what they used to do with sugar? They used to anesthetize babies with it back in the day. That's how numbing it is. So if you can and it does, that's what we use it for. I mean, most people that are addicted to sugar, if you really ask them, they're numbing something out that they don't want to deal with, really. I mean, I know that that's kind of harsh to say, but it's the truth. It's the cold hard truth that's what we do with food. That's why it's called comfort food. Because when we are in disarray or discord or discomfort, we want to comfort ourselves with the food that we used to, harbor as this amazing, comforting, like family and closeness and all of this stuff. Like we have this story behind it. When you look at that story, what is food to you? Well, food should be a nutritional source of vitamins and minerals for your body.
To keep going.
Yes, to recharge it. Not this, let's just gorge ourselves so that, we can numb out, all of these things that we don't want to deal with or that we don't know how to deal with. And I really think that a lot of it is really, we don't know how. We were never taught to do all of this. And I think that that's the beautiful part about having this podcast, is because you can teach people, millions of people in one time, how to really tap into themselves. And it's not as scary once you kind of start doing it. Is it effort? 1,000% it's effort. But who's important? You. You're the most important person in your story. And I hope you are.
Yeah. I want to be the hero.
But yeah, we were taught that, everybody else is going to save us. Cinderella, right? Snow White.
Victims were always glorified, and being the victim is not empowering.
No, it's not. But we don't think of it that way. We just think, oh, yay, like a man's going to come and whisk us away and we're going to live happily ever after. And it's like, I want to tell you something. It's going to be you that whisks yourself away, because nobody can ever love you as much as you love yourself. You can never accept more love than you love yourself at that particular moment. So the most amazing person could come into your life and love you. And if you're not ready for it, you're not going to see it. And you're going to completely gloss it over, and you're going to go find somebody else who's more in alignment with you.
That's really profound. You can never accept more love than you have for yourself.
And conversely, you can never hate anybody as much as you hate yourself, because it stems from within you. It's all of your judgments, and it's everything that you've ever learned. That's what you're constantly doing. You're bouncing things off, and people are kind of just mirrors, or characters that you've paid, essentially, if you want to call it that, or had them come down here and act a certain way. So what I love about this is what I love about life is if you trigger me right away, I already know I needed this lesson so that I could grow from where I was before. And when you can start looking at it from that place of freedom and objectivity, I mean, really the possibilities are endless. So if somebody ever triggers me, I immediately look within and I'm like, okay, what's going on with me? And why did I want to learn this lesson? Like my dad, I love my dad to death, but he triggers me all the time. And it's because I had him come down.
Contracts.
Exactly. I had him come down here because I wanted to learn, but it's also, I trust him enough too. I obviously trust him to play that role for me so that I can learn and grow. It's just when you don't take that shift of wanting to learn and grow, then it's obviously a source of constant pain and agony.
Yeah, it's easy to flip into the victim mentality.
So
it's hard to stand there and say, okay, I'm the hero of my story. This is just the low point in the journey.
It is.
And there'll be high points, but believe me, there'll be more low points too.
1,000%. But in those low points, the beautiful part is it makes you appreciate those high points even more, because it's almost like those high points remind you of how great it is to be alive and to keep going, no matter how difficult these lessons are that we have learned and that we have come from. So life's amazing. It
is amazing. And the human body is amazing.
Our meat sacks, that's what I call it, is a meat sack, because it is. I mean, we're a soul in a meat sack having a human experience. Our meat sacks are so unbelievably genius. I mean, for me, this is just my belief. I believe that this is a universe within the universe. So, because it says in the Bible, not that I'm a huge religious person, because I'm not. I'm more spiritual than I am anything. I have studied religion, but I don't partake in any of them.
I've been down the same path.
Yep.
Come out the other side.
A lot of them all say the same thing, but they instill fear. And for me, God is not fear. There's no fear there ever, because love and fear cannot exist in the same molecule ever. You either have to choose one or the other. So you're either living in fear or you're living in love. And it's really as cut and dry as that. So when you take any choice that you're making in any given moment, you can ask yourself, am I coming from a place of fear, or am I coming from a place of love?
I think God is energy.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because it requires energy to keep things together. Everything is held together by energy. And the Bible does say that he holds us together in his palm of his hand.
Yes. So with our bodies being this universe, because it says right in the Bible, right, that our bodies are a temple. I truly believe that, because the more time you spend nurturing your body, mind, spirit, the more enlightened and free you become to really understand how this all works. Because like you said, every 7 years, you basically get a new body, really, because your cells are regenerating every single moment of every single second of every single day. So when you know that, when your cells have been used to 7 years of thinking, and it's largely our unconscious thoughts. I mean, if you wanted to just sit there with your mind, literally, you don't ever have to shut your mind off, but you can start listening to what you're telling yourself. That's how you're living. Those are the unconscious thoughts that are dictating your life. So why not just make them conscious and tackle them head on so that you can create a different reality? Because that's what you do with your cells.
Decide which ones are serving you.
Yes.
Often we have thoughts that they run in a loop, and they're not productive thoughts. They just they end up
they're just
causing us. Yeah, they're just on loop. And it's like, I'm going to engage in it. And every time you engage in a negative thought loop pattern, it generates chemicals in your body. Your body has a physical response to what you're thinking about all the time. And so much of that is just unnecessary. It's not necessary to run these things through your head.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's not going to change the outcome of what's ever going to happen. No matter how much you worry about it or you think about it.
It just creates more of that same negative, because everything snowballs. So when you can start looking at it from a period of the negative, like being stuck in that loop, so to speak, you can be like, okay, I'm obviously stuck in a loop. Let's think of just a different thought entirely. Then you're not giving that attention anymore, and you're able to create something different.
And you can just make stuff up. It doesn't even matter. You can lie to yourself. I think Marissa Pierce says, tell yourself a better lie.
Oh, 1,000%. Because they are.
They're all lies.
Tell ourselves good, bad, or indifferent. You know, I think oftentimes we do get stuck on this good and bad too. And it's like, I don't really think anything's good or bad. It's just we are learning. These are all just learning experiences. And if you can take them just as that, good or bad, because we're never supposed to stay in them either. The same with emotions. We're not supposed to stay in these experiences. We're supposed to have multiple different experiences so that we can just assimilate all of this information and keep moving through them and not have attachments. You're supposed to remain detached all of the time. That's the hard part, is really staying detached, because some of those good feelings, even the bad ones, but you feel like, oh, I just really like when somebody cuts you off, right? You're like, oh, but if only they knew what a day I was having, and blah, 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 blah. Right there.
That's a lie you're telling yourself, though.
Totally. Because you want to feel important. Okay. So I want to feel important. What am I not giving myself that I'm not feeling now important? And now I want everybody else to feel and see that I'm important, but I'm not giving it to myself. Right there. Those are the things that you just constantly have to do. And I think that that's the beautiful work in it all. And it makes me laugh. I mean, you can get really upset, and trust me, I have in the past, but I've really learned to laugh a lot, because it's so much fun when you start seeing yourself outside of yourself and you're like, wow, I really had that thought. I really went down that rabbit hole for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And what did it do for me?
Was it productive or unproductive?
Yeah. And we all do it. Even people that I'll do it, and I'll be totally conscious of the fact that I'm doing it.
Oh, totally.
It's like, stop it. Just stop it. Let it go. Quit picking at it.
I want 5 more minutes in this vicious cycle. Okay, just 5 more minutes. And then at the 5-minute marker, it's like, can I have 5 more? No. You have to learn to
the dinger went off.
It's like the mom, no, you're not having no more ice cream, no more. Just 1 more scoop? No. Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Nicole, what's the one thing that you want people to take away from this conversation today?
That you can heal yourself, that you can change, that the way that you are today doesn't have to be the way that you are forever. That's the beauty in this life. Like, that is just so magical to me. And it ignites just my soul talking about it, because we don't ever have to be the same. We can at any moment change the trajectory forever, good or bad, however, and you get to decide. You get to leave your legacy in this world. What do you want to leave? How do you want to paint this canvas? Because it's blank. That's what that's the mark I want to leave. And so let people be free in their creativity to write whatever story they want.
And in writing those stories, how the world is changing and becoming a much better, kinder, gentler place to live. And it's more sustainable if people are able to start taking ownership for their thoughts and feelings, and becoming empowered to live the lives that they want to live, not the lives that they were told to live.
Yep.
And I admire that about you, that you're stepping out and you're helping people in the way that you felt that you should have been helping them. Not that, having the nursing background, that's huge, great accomplishment. And I'm sure that you've helped a lot of people that needed what you did when you were there to do it. But it's admirable that you're stepping out and you're serving the community, the larger community, in a way that's more in alignment with who you are and how you want to be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, because we don't have to listen to what everybody else has told us. Because your body is always wanting to heal and your mind is always wanting to grow. Really, truly. And you have a soul that wants to experience everything that you came down here to experience. So why not just break free from all of those paradigms that we have been told and start creating something new and different and a future that you want to live, not that you feel like you have to live.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me. I have an email. I'm on TikTok. I have an Instagram page. I have my podcast that I just started.
What's the name of that?
The Meat Sack Experience.
I love it.
We experience so much, right? We experience like daily, we experience multiple experiences. Why not share them? Why not help empower? Because I know that my experiences, I know other people have had the same experiences. Well, if I can at least steer you in a different direction, you don't have to take my path. In fact, I would recommend to not take your own path. But if I can at least help get you out of that rut that you feel you're in, hey, that's a beautiful thing, right? And talk about it, because I feel like the more we talk and communicate, the more we understand that we all struggle and that we can all empower each other and ourselves, right? That to me is true connectedness and empowerment. And that's what I love. And that's really what I think is what we're supposed to do for each other. We're not supposed to be divided.
We're all connected.
1,000%.
And when we start like deciding that we're not going to be connected to somebody, that it's a rip in the time space continuum, I think.
It really is. When you start feeling like you are so different from somebody else, that disconnect is very alienating and lonesome. And I've been there, trust me, I definitely have put myself in that place. But what I'm learning is that community is the most important, and having a tribe of people that you can count on that are going to help pick you up in those times of need, because we all need those. But that's what our connectedness is for. And that's why we came down here. And that's why there's so many people on this planet, because you can literally connect with everybody. And I guarantee you're going to learn something from that person, no matter what. That's beautiful.
Everybody's got a story. And it's so interesting getting to listen to them.
It is. I love it.
Me too. Thanks so much for joining me today, Nicole.
You're so welcome. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it so much.
Me too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the U World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the U World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.